It's a poison. That doesn't help the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. You donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome back, folks, on a cold Wednesday in the Midwest, pretty much all over the country. I don't know where you're at. I hope everybody's staying warm. I already see the debate in the chat about these snow days. These kids are getting snow days, but sometimes there hasn't even been snow. Like, I don't understand. When we were little, it didn't matter how cold it was. There had to be like a foot of snow on the ground for them to cancel school. If it was just cold, you were out of luck. Go to school, son. Go learn something, right? And then the e-learning thing too, back in my day, when you got a snow day, it was time to hit the slopes, bro. Like, it was time to go build an igloo or go ice skating and play hockey or go do something. Go sledding, not be stuck inside doing e-learning. What a joke. What an absolute joke. Good morning to everybody. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. We got some, Nick, I feel bad for you, Nick. Every time you jump in here in the morning, right when I get started, you got to go to a meeting. I feel bad about it every day. You need to tell your boss you have more important meetings. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope, Todd, what are you doing? I don't know what Todd's doing backstage, but he just did something funny. I don't know what his plan was, but I saw what he did and it cracked me up. I think I know what he's going for. There's a technological way to accomplish that, Todd. I'll fill you in. I think I know what you were doing, and there is a technical way to do it rather than the physical way you just did it. Darian Benson coming to the U. He is. It's really interesting, you guys. Good morning, go Canes, but mostly all my Notre Dame people. It's really interesting how they came to some settlement between Duke and this guy and then Miami. I would love to know how that goes. And what is that? Is that as simple as him, like, do you return NIL money? Or like I wonder what that looks like. When there's a settlement, to me, it comes off like this guy had to give Duke something. So, like, I just wonder, I would love to know, like, that discussion and how that went, because it's a really relevant issue that's going to become more in the forefront of college football with the NIL stuff and the way these guys jump around. Like, I would love to know how that was negotiated and how that actually went down. Settlement to me sounds like Mentz had to give some. Do you have to give back some of the money you got or what? John, you doing a road show in Florida. Well, I'm going to tell you this. We go to Florida in my daughter's spring break. Like, so it's always like March, sometime March, whenever she has the week off from school. My parents are down there now. We'll go meet them. And then they're going to come back right before Blue and Gold. So I'm sure I'll do some shows from Florida, but we're doing a Disney thing. I'm already stressed just saying it. I'm already annoyed and stressed out just by saying it. But the kids, we're going to do Disney thing with my brother and all this. So I'm going to try and go live when I can, or do, my videos from the patio there where I'm yelling at the golf course. Tell you this though. The history is every single time John goes to Florida, something happens in Notre Dame land. Every time something happens right when I go and I'm like, oh, it's a low time in the news cycle. There ain't going to be nothing. I can relax. Boom. I get off the plane. Oh, they're getting Mike Denbrock from LSU. It's always something. One time it was we're getting Denbrock from LSU when I get off the plane. The other time it was Jack Swarbrick saying he doesn't appreciate people reporting from their basements. So just expect it. Every time I go, something happens. I just said, Pat, I got to go when the kids' spring break is. So that's always March. And then we went for Christmas and the Denbrock news happened. So I got to mentally prepare myself for the Disney thing. Somebody said I got to record some of me at Disney just because it doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. Misguided passion. I would argue my passion was extremely guided. It was guided towards you not making a rudimentary paper mistake on a potential new hire that you took out on a date in front of everybody. I would say I was extremely guided in my passion. Guided towards you not embarrassing yourself. So, whatever. Anyways, yeah, always annoyed at Disney. I try and be the good, but play along and just go along to get along. Disney's magical, John. Yeah, well, it involves everything I don't like. Loud, big crowds of people being weird. So you got lines, you got crowds, you got traffic, everything's overpriced. You have like just a combination of a bunch of things I don't do well with. Lines, traffic, people, overpriced everything. And the other thing, yeah, I got to keep, bro, you got to keep your head on a swivel for the adult Disney people. You're on my radar. You know what I'm talking about. Not the people that are like, oh, I have 4 rat kids and they want to do Disney and we're going to go broke doing it just to say we did. Not that. I'm talking about those weird adults. The weird adults that have no children involved, but they're obsessed with Disney and never grew out of it. And they like a 42-year-old turns into like an 8-year-old when they're there. Something weird about it. I don't like you and I don't trust you. Okay? But I actually think I should record some of it just because it doesn't fit my vibe. It doesn't fit my thing, right? So, anyways, that's the deal. So we're going to go in March and whatever. So I'll figure out how to schedule what we're going to do. But be ready for some big news because it happens every time I go. So I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. The amount of people and rascals it's... I have to mentally prepare myself. Like we've been before. It's not like I don't know what I'm getting. That's why I'm saying I need to mentally prepare myself for the situation. That's all I'm saying. I have to like spend the day preparing to be frustrated by the experience. But the kids are going to have a good time. I'll play along. I'll be in Florida. It'll be nice out. Yeah, if I could get there without the old lady next to me, right when everybody gets buckled, this old lady decided to crack open her plastic thing of food with it was literally like eggs and tuna. And she decided that was the meal for the day and open it up and let it fester through the whole plane. Eggs and tuna. Lady, are you out of your mind? I give her a little grace because I think she was at least 174 years old. So I give her a little credit, like a little leeway on not being totally like with it. But you got to be kidding me, man. Tuna and eggs on a plane? You got to be outside your mind to open that next to me. Said it before, say it again. Said it before, say it again. The best person I've ever sat next to on a plane wasn't a person. It was a cute little lab service dog. And I don't know what he was serving, but I'd rather sit by that black lab puppy than anybody else. Kidding me? You kidding me? Ryan says Cinderella is hot. I read an article when we were looking at trying to plan out whatever the days were going to be. I read an article popped up, and it was all the girls who play the like princesses saying how disturbing it is that all these dads come with the wife and the kids and then like hit on them because they're cute girls in these cute outfits. And they were all saying it happens all the time. And like they're all there with their wife and their kids, but they're hitting on me when the wife's like kind of right there. It's weird. It's weird, but this is, yeah, Ryan, we would tear it up. That's for damn sure. We would tear it up. But it does. And the other thing is, if you need a Razor scooter to get around Disney or whatever, you shouldn't go to Disney. You just shouldn't. It's a walking person's place. Too big, too much going on. If you need to wheel around everywhere, I think your days of wheeling around everywhere are over. And the last thing I'm going to do if I got to be wheeled around is be an inconvenience to other people wherever I go. That's my number one thing in life is I don't want to be an inconvenience to anybody else. I hate that feeling of being an inconvenience. So anyways, but yeah, Ryan, you and I got to bring my little GoPro or something and record some of my reaction to Disney. But anyways, so that's the deal with that. And we'll get to that in March when we figure out the dates. Somebody also asked, do we know the exact date of Blue and Gold? I don't think we know it yet because the second you do, the hotel rates and everything else go crazy. You got to have Goolsby get behind the scenes in the program and figure it out ahead of time. Tell our people so that we could go ahead and get everything booked. Yeah, Pat, if you could fit in the seat, not bleed over the armrest, that's all that matters to me. It needs to be like a limo where I can hit the button and the partition goes up in my area. And if half of your carcass is caught in that, that is not my problem. Why should I have to touch a stranger's fat to fly somewhere? Why is that fair to me? Someone's got to explain how is that fair to me that I pay and then I have to fly with a stranger's fat touching me for 2.5 hours to Florida? Why is that fair? I'll never understand it. I did see Southwest change all their seating and everything, and they changed the rule. Now, if you bleed over in the other seat, you got to buy 2, which is what the rule should be all along. Anyways, so you need a button, and the partition comes up, and if that jams you in uncomfortably, hashtag not my problem. Fit in the seat or buy 2. Anyways. That is life ain't fair, John. Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. I'm the one sitting there waiting for the plane to load, and I'm looking around and I'm going, please not that one. Please not that one. I'm sitting there and I'm looking, and this was more flying for work alone. Because now it's easy with a kid and a wife or whatever. If there's 3 seats that you know you're with your people and they can all fit in the thing, right? And they ain't eating tuna. But it's like when I used to fly alone for work, going to these trade shows and stuff, I would be sitting there planning it out, dude. Like, no, not by that lady, not by him. They can barely walk. It's going to take 9 hours to get out of the plane if I'm buying that guy. Like, I will look at everything. Anybody who looks risky, like they may be trying to sneak something by security, I got a checklist. Who to not be by and why. I got aisle or window seat? Window seat. Number 1 is I don't get up during the flight. I do not drink a bunch of stuff. Then I'm up there trying to walk down the aisle while they're moving and I'm falling and then I'm in there peeing and I'm spraying all over. Oh, turbulence. Like, I'm not doing any of that. I ain't doing any of that. So I'm not worried about the access. And if we crash, I'm not, I mean, I'm not, I don't know how much the aisle's gonna help me. But so I'm a window guy because I don't get out. I don't get out of the seat. I don't eat the day before other than a couple saltines. My biggest fear in life's getting squirts on a plane. I will not, like, there's snakes on a plane. I'm scared of squirts on a plane. I will never, ever allow myself to be in that, to eat something that puts me in the position to have to do that in front of all those people. And they're all looking at you. They all know it's you that blew it up. I can't handle that. So I starve myself a day before, eat only saltines or a granola bar. I will not have a stomach full of stuff and get on a plane. It won't happen. So I'm not worried about the aisle because I don't need to get up. Here's why I like the window. Number one is I'm an anxious flyer. I don't trust giving up preload with the Imodium. The problem with the Imodium, what I've found is by the time it kicks in and settles, you already embarrassed yourself in public. That's the problem I have with the Imodium, unless you do it 2 days before and then you're all stacked up. So that's the problem with the Imodium is sometimes by the time I feel it coating everything and locking you up, it's too late. You pooped your pants in public. So, yeah, that's an issue. So I'm not worried about the aisle because I'm not getting up to go nowhere. Here's why I like the window. Number one is I'm a little bit of an anxious flyer. I understand the aerodynamics of how planes work. I understand the statistics that, you're much more likely to die in a car crash than a plane crash. Look at the stats. Yeah, I know that. But at least I'm driving my car. At least I'm driving my car. I don't like ceding complete control of my life to a random guy flying a tube 35,000 feet in the air. And I got to hope he didn't catch his wife with the mailman. Is going to end it all that day. And I'm on the plane. I don't like ceding the control of my life to that guy. All it takes is him being depressed and we're all going down. I don't like that risk in these modern times, okay? I don't like the risk. So I'm a little bit of an anxious flyer. I have found that the window seat helps with that. Looking out and being able to see that we're flying and progress and over the ground, that gives me some weird comfort just being able to orient. Does that make sense? Me being able to orient myself to what's going on, I have found calms me down a little bit. Then there's the added benefit of this. The added benefit of this is if you always bring a little hoodie or something in your book bag, you can roll that baby up like a pillow, prop it into the window well, and you can literally have a good spot to lay. Like sideways, kind of. Not like this, but sideways. I've found you get a little more room that way. And so I always have like a hoodie, wrap it up, put it in that window well, and I can rest my little head there. And then when I get anxious, I can look out and see, okay, we're flying. Nothing's on fire. It looks like we're okay. So that is where I'm at with flying. I do not like it. I enjoy the result. I hate the process. Let's not get started on all the people that don't know how to act in an airport. They don't know how to control their kids. They're bringing 80 things that have been not allowed on planes forever. They don't have their paperwork. They're not controlling their kids. There's always 80 people on speakerphone yelling in the waiting area. Everybody's doing their own thing. Half the people are in ripped up pajamas to go fly. I don't like any of it. I don't like any of it. The random guy on I-80 weaving all over is pretty random too. You're darn right. And I'm not saying it makes sense. But the concept that I have some control over this situation as opposed to none at all makes a big difference to me. You're totally right. I've been in head-on collisions where people died. Like, I know what that's like, okay? God bless Aunt Allison, and my brother named his first daughter Allison in her memory. But, like, I know what that's like. And I'm still saying I like feeling like I have a little control. Have you ever been to a Turkish prison? I have not, and I don't plan on it. The other thing that helps is, too, when you have a little kid, it helps because you're distracted because your whole world is around keeping the kid entertained and not, being crazy. I have found since having a kid, it's knocked some of the edge off flying because it ain't about you anymore. You're worried about your kid not making a scene and make it all, you know what I'm talking about? I have found that helps. I don't know, but I've been in some weird plane stuff. Like we were flying into Canada a couple times and the guy kept missing the runway and we had to peel off and circle back 3 or 4 times. He kept overshooting it. The wheels would get real low and then he'd peel off. I don't know what that guy had in his coffee. I'm flying to the West Coast and they announce, we have a medical emergency. We're going to be on the ground in 5 minutes. It's going to be rough. Buckle up. We're weaving between the Colorado mountains, dropping altitude, landing on a random military airstrip in the mountains somewhere for some old guy that had a medical issue. I don't like flying. And I don't like people. That being said, it's great to be with you fine people today. Oh, man. They are called the Rocky Mountains, not Colorado. Well, whatever it was, they were rocky. And flying between them, there's a lot of jet streams, man. I didn't like flying between the mountains. It was just too rocky in the Rockies, man. All the air going between the mountains. The wings are doing this. You know what I'm talking about. All those wings have give in them. But, man, you're starting to wonder how much are they going to give before we rocky this thing. You know what I mean? Giving a brother anxiety. What about a sleeper train? I've thought about this long and hard. One time in my life, I want to take a nice long train trip and see if I feel any better about it. Because the flying is one thing, but like the train travel, I like that you could get your own car or your own room. That's the difference. In a lot of those trains, you get your own little room. You could separate yourself from John Q. Public. That alone eliminates half of my worries. Then you just got to worry about some dummy semi-truck driver with his truck blocking the thing, and then you run into that. So I think I would do better with the train because you have your own little cabin area away from other people. The issue is those trains I keep seeing where you got to go on a train and then connect to another train to get like to the East Coast or West Coast, wherever. And then those trains get backed up because something isn't working. And then you're sitting on the track for 3 hours not moving. And then by the time you get caught up, you miss your connecting thing. And then you're perpetually in a bad spot. It would have to be just one like train I could take all the way to Florida or do something. I don't know. But I have thought about one time it'd be nice. Have some cool scenery where you just sit there and watch the countryside go by or whatever. I think that'd be cool. So I don't know. That is, I did not expect this to go there, but 24 minutes later, there we are. So I'm going to bring you guys up. I highlighted a couple comments. I'll bring a few of you guys up, get your thoughts. Here's the deal. first off, hit subscribe, do all that. Check out the Patreon. I am 24 minutes in. I think we blew the intro. Okay. We blew the intro. Here's the deal. I'm too paranoid to sleep in public. I feel that too. I can't understand these people sawing logs on a plane. Like, you're 1 second away from dying at any moment, and you have the relaxation to sleep. I don't have that in me. Wound too tight. It's more me, like, with my eyes closed, but supremely aware of what's going on. There isn't really any sleep. A few Miller Lights, then you got the issue. People have said you need to drink a couple beers at the airport before, and then that causes me the bathroom problem. There's no solution. That causes me to have to use the bathroom, and I'm not doing that on a plane. I refuse. I absolutely refuse. So that's not really an option for me either. People have mentioned edibles or something like that. I don't exactly want to. I don't like being in that kind of state in public with a bunch of random people. That makes me a little uncomfortable too. So that's it. John, you have enough phobias for 10 people. I have valid reasons for everything I have distaste for or an aversion to. I have valid reasons. They may not be valid to you, but they are to me. They are to me. 2 beers before the plane's perfect. Maybe you could empty out before. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. So there's really no easy solution. But if you don't want to, here's the other part. The other part is you could just not fly. There is nothing about a 20-hour drive from here to Disney with a 5-year-old that I'm looking forward to either. Like, there's no easy solution. Watch it on YouTube. Watch a Disney walkthrough on YouTube, right? Like, there's no easy solution because you're out of your mind if you think I'm driving 20 hours with a 5-year-old. That ain't happening either. So unless we just never go anywhere, you could take train all the way to Utah. Renee, maybe that's it. Maybe I need to come out see you for the BYU game, and I take the train. And I vlog my little journey all the way to Provo to go hang out with Renee. If Renee's smart, he'll put me to work. Guy sends me videos all the time. He's out there actually working with his hands. And here I am yelling about pooping my pants in the basement. Unbelievable. At least that guy works for a living. The window seat has the best air quality due to the way the air flows through the cylinder. Yeah, there's always somebody hacking up too. Always somebody coughing and making all this racket. And all I see is little germ segments getting caught up in that air filtration system. And they're hacking and it goes in there and it all gets reshot into my face. I don't like it. The California Zephyr, Chicago to Salt Lake. That sounds fast. If you're going to name it the Zephyr, is that how you pronounce it? Better be awesome. John, your 5-year-old will be driving in a decade. I'm not ready for that amount of stress either. Okay. So let's get back on task here for a moment, if we can. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you Monday. The daughter was off school for the weather, and literally all of the grandparents are in Florida for the winter on both sides. So, like, those are the people who watch her when I need to go live and the wife's at the hospital working. She has weird hours doing emergency surgery. You never know. Like, all the grandparents are the ones who help, and they're all in Florida for the winter. So I had to do daddy duty Monday. And of course, the one Monday I can't go live, actual big time breaking news breaks right before, like late that night, early in the morning. Ain't that just the way it goes? That's just the way it goes. It's the off season. Everything is calmed down. There's not a lot of news going on. The one Monday I can't go live, and it happened. So I'm sorry about that. but I have not been able to get your opinions on Mike Mickens leaving. And I know some people are already ready to move on. They were frustrated, or we're moving on. I just haven't had a chance to be with any of you guys to ask, how big of a loss do you think that is? Why is it a big one? Why it's not that a big of a one? Where you're at with it. So I just wanted to get a feel from the chat and a few of you guys on calls to see what you guys think. And I've got some options to go over here that maybe you could go with. So I'm going to do that. But really simple question. I just want to know how big of a loss this is, how you're processing this. Okay. So that's where I want to go. I have some thoughts on it. Let's do a couple of your chats. I'm going to give you a few of the options I think there are to choose from on your angle on this. Then I'll bring up you guys. We'll see what you think. Domer guy. Sucks Mickens is out, and I know you don't want to hear this, John. I agree. It'd be nice to win some meaningful with the stud coaches while we still have them. That is a very immature fan thing, but I find myself there. And I admit that it is immature. But when it's like, that's a sign of a great program that everybody wants to hire your guys, and that's a sense of pride or whatever. Yeah, I'd feel a lot better about it if you won a title and then those guys got promotions. Not you're trying to climb the mountain and you're losing your best guys along the way. Those are totally different things. So whenever anybody said that's what happens in an elite program, where they, win a title first, I'll feel a hell of a lot better losing our good coaches. That is just me being short-sighted, selfish, and immature. But I admit that's exactly where I'm at with it. So, like, whatever. Judge me. Judge me. This is my kid's third day off school, and all we got was a little ice. A little ice, Andrew. The Patreon chat right now is discussing running backs. I think a lot of people are being prisoners of the moment. Just because Aeneas is not J Love does not mean he can't put up comparable stats. My thought is, I think you're going to be really good there with Aeneas and the younger guys behind him. I think you're going to be really, really good there. But I'm just not sure anybody has the alien physical gifts of Jeremiah Love. But that doesn't mean that it can't be a plus group. Like, Jeremiah Love is one in maybe like a lifetime for a reason. So, like, I expect running back room to be really, really good. It just might not be a J Love's level, and that's okay. Because your levels on all these position groups are going to move. So, like, I think you're going to be fine, but anybody expecting the next Jeremiah Love, like, the guy's unique for a reason. So I think they're going to be really, really good, but you don't have to have Love's skill set to be really, really good. So I don't know. Text. I feel like ND outrage is being recycled nationally. Light news cycle and the MOU for ND comes back up. Not enough bad news. They need something to continue to drag Notre Dame about. The schedule is one thing. Notre Dame officially finalized, put out the schedule. That'll be tomorrow's episode on YouTube, going into that critiquing Notre Dame's schedule. Here's what bothers me about the reaction to the MOU. This was known about over a calendar year ago. People are acting like the MOU only happened because Notre Dame cried after this year. That was already on the books well over a year ago. It shows you how far people want to go to nail Notre Dame. They don't even do the research to understand the dynamic, and they're putting out stuff saying, look, Notre Dame cried because they got left out of the playoff and begged and cried. Now they got this. Not even knowing that has been in the contract language for over a year. It's a low IQ WPP move, man. But I see it everywhere. I see it everywhere. And then there are a lot of Power 4 conference teams that have very soft, weak schedules. People are like, well, why doesn't that ever get talked about? There is protection and cover being in a conference. If you're in a conference, it gives you like this protection to have your schedule analyzed and critiqued. So a part of it is conference cover. But the second part is people think Notre Dame being independent means that 5 minutes before the season, Notre Dame picks the worst teams in America to schedule. That's what people think independence means, that we go out of our way to identify the worst teams to load up with at the last minute. That's what people think. And I'll go over all that in depth tomorrow. But that's the impression people get of Notre Dame's independent schedule, that it's last minute, schedule the worst teams possible. That's what people think we do. This is the other thing, Tex. The kids don't even get real snow days. Kids got remote learning assignments. Here's my problem Monday. The remote learning for my 5-year-old, what they sent us to do is like a week of homework combined into one snow day, man. You're asking me to build origami projects and do all this stuff. Yeah, one snow day, we got more homework to work on in a week combined. Can a kid just play in the snow? Oh, boy. JTH. This is the Alabama guy that comments 90 times on all my videos. Oh, how I love to gloat and brag about these trophies. All right, man. You're gonna do that long enough that people are gonna start critiquing you like Notre Dame bragging about all theirs when the last one was in 88. I guess thanks for being here, but it is a little annoying when you put 20 replies to every one of my videos. Can you just consolidate it into one paragraph? All your little snarky Alabama comments? Commander, Notre Dame secondary going to be #1 in the country next year. It's beyond stacked. Stacked and jacked, baby. Here's a little song I know. Don't worry, be happy. What a good idea for a YouTube short of me like freaking out about something or being mad about either in public or with football or whatever. But instead of hearing me yell, like you could see me turning colors and doing all the waving and yelling. You don't hear my voice. You just hear that song. Don't worry, little Jamaican John. Don't worry, be happy. Yeah, right. Win a championship. I might be happy for at least 5 minutes. It'd be nice. Yeah, they saw something in Hobbs that just didn't pan out regarding that secondary. Here's the question I have about that specifically. Was that a matter of like Ash's first year, nobody knows who's what or whatever? Or did Notre Dame not do the right things to properly test these guys in August? Because it was a huge miscalculation that may have cost you 2 games. Was that all just lost in the mix of a new DC trying to find his way, figure out his roster? Or did you go soft and you didn't do enough one-on-one, best on best, see what this guy could do? Like, I don't know how you ended up there, but it damn well cost you 2 games. So I don't know. Irish Cubby with the honesty. Losing Mickens was right behind not wanting to lose Freeman for me. That one hurts, but I have faith Freeman will get a good replacement. Secondary's in good shape. That's a mature perspective. Brian, thanks for the $20 hour MOU. Nobody complains about Tulane. JMU had auto bids ranked 20 and 24, but got auto bid into the top 12. But they complain that if Notre Dame's ranked in the top 12, it's wrong if they want to stay in the top 12. Stupid argument. Brian, really, really interesting you bring that up. Interesting you bring that up. I got a YouTube short coming out challenging the Notre Dame hating people to say this out loud. It's really interesting. You nailed this because it's exactly what I say in this short. If you're against Notre Dame having this MOU, that means by default, you believe a 12-team playoff field should not have the 12 best teams in it. Like, by default, if you have an aversion to Notre Dame having that in there or whatever, you are literally saying you don't think a 12-team playoff should have the 12 best teams in it. There is nobody that loves college football, even as much as you hate Notre Dame, that you're going to say you think that's good for the sport. And that if you're having a 12-team playoff, it shouldn't just have 12 best teams in it. Come on, man. Come on, man. So, I don't know. D-Rock, which one would you rather lose, Freeman or Mickens? Obviously, I'd rather lose Mickens, but that doesn't mean I like it. I mean, those are two very, very different things. Very, very high-level position coach or the guy that is doing all of this, right? So I don't know. So it is, it's interesting. Okay. Let me go over a couple of the options I see here. And then you guys tell me where you're at with it. I'll do it real quick. Then I'll give it to the callers and we'll get into this. Okay. So I'm going to run over a few options of how you may react to losing Mickens. Do you think the secondary is just going to keep on rolling without him? Do you believe the lineage of development and NFL guys that cycle Notre Dame's in of producing that high development results in Notre Dame, NFL, with that schedule, ND should join the ACC. Go Canes. You want to talk about weak schedules? Notre Dame is the only team Miami plays with a pulse all next year. That is it. So if we're doing the schedule thing, literally Notre Dame is the only team with a pulse Miami plays all year. Okay? So, do you believe this Notre Dame secondary is in a position where it's going to it has been good enough long enough that as long as these guys keep going to the NFL, it's going to keep reproducing itself? As long as those NFL guys keep churning through, does that itself help this self-recruit a little bit? Do you believe that it's like Ohio State wide receivers? They're just going to get more good ones because they have a lineage of putting good ones in the NFL, and that keeps selling itself. Even though Hartline's gone, they're still going to get good receivers. Is this at that level at Notre Dame? So maybe you think that. And there is some validity to that if you get a group that's known for that NFL thing, it'll just keep going. So there's something to it. Do you think we'll be able to find a great replacement and things will keep rolling because of that? So not just the lineage helps on its own. You listen. This job should appeal to the very best secondary guys there are. Right? Like when you look at that, what Notre Dame has going, telling you that job should be very appealing to the top level guys looking at that talent. Okay. Now, high expectations because the bar's so high, you're expected to keep it at that level. That's hard, but this job should appeal to the very best. So do you think they'll be able to do it that way? Do you think Mickens was a little overvalued and that maybe he got more credit than like the players themselves should have got? Or maybe you just believe he got a little overhyped and overvalued because Notre Dame struggled in the secondary most of my adult life so much that now it just seems great. Like, I don't know. Maybe some people think that. Do you think this year will be fine because you're stacked and all these guys are already in the building? So do you feel like next year's going to be fine? Then I got to worry about what happens after that. Do guys leave because they wanted to play for Mickens or like don't like the new dynamic? So do you worry the recruiting's going to drop off because Mickens was doing all that? Like, so there's a narrative where you could be like, we'll be totally fine next year. How bad could whoever they hire mess up this secondary? But after that, worrying about retention and recruiting, do you think we just lost our best guy and now we're screwed? Like, you could say we just lost what I think is our best assistant and I don't like this at all and it really sucks. You could say that. That's totally fair. That's totally fair. Here's where I'm at after cooling off on this, letting the emotions settle down. Here's where I'm at. I don't expect a huge drop off. I think Notre Dame will be really, really good and continue to be really good because it's a high level, top 5 program operation, but it might just not always stay at the peak Mickens had it. I think it's going to be really damn good, but maybe not just quite at the peak with the recruiting and getting everything you add at that level. Really, really good, but maybe not at that peak. I feel similarly about the running back room. I think it's going to be just fine, really, really good, but not Jeremiah Love. And that's just the reality of it. That's just the reality of it. So that's where I'm at. I think you're gonna end up in a good spot. It just may not be like absolute pinging on elite in all areas all the time, but it could still be good enough to win with at high level. So that's my thought. Now, maybe I'm pleasantly surprised and there is no drop off and the position kind of recruits itself and the new guy does good and whatever. And maybe these running backs are awesome and dynamic. I don't know. But Notre Dame's not going to fall off. This is a top 5 program the way they're operating. They're not just going to fall off. Always Irish Senior, good to see you. You're in Florida. It's a lot warmer there than it is here. Tell you that right now. So hopefully Always Irish Senior is joining us by the pool. Tell you that. Now I'm gonna finish with this. Then I promise I'm going to you guys. Sorry. For years, I have heard, pay Mickens whatever you need. You got to keep the guy around. That has been the prevailing narrative around Mickens each one of these hiring cycles. Open up the checkbook, keep the guy around, look at what we're doing. That's what the narrative's been. They flew because they're going to be there for like till blue and gold, or drove rather. Text. So they made the drive. Stayed in Atlanta overnight from Illinois, stayed in Atlanta, finished the drive the next day. But being there for a few months or a couple months, they drove. So that was the narrative with Mickens. Open up the checkbook. He's your best guy. Now he leaves, and I got people tell me it's not that big of a deal to lose Mickens. Well, which is it? I feel like we all kind of agreed he was the best assistant at identifying, recruiting, and developing talent on the team. All this open up the checkbook talk. Now he's gone, and it's like, yeah, maybe he wasn't that good anyway. It feels like an Irish cope. That feels like a cope. How on one hand are you open up the checkbook, he's the best guy, you got to keep him around, and once he leaves, I don't know, maybe not, maybe it's not that big of a deal. How can you have both? How can you have both? It's okay to say that it sucks, but Notre Dame is a high-level program and they're going to be fine. I believe that. So admit that it sucks, and I think we're going to be okay anyways. Also, last thing. It's really interesting to me The last 3 cycles, Mickens has interviewed outside of Notre Dame for DC jobs, hasn't gotten the Notre Dame one or any of those other ones. And I don't know what to make of that. Not ready, doesn't have play calling experience. Well, like, you got to get that somewhere. So I don't know. I just think that's an interesting part of this. And it also tells you Mickens has been looking for something else. He's been doing an A+ job at Notre Dame, but he's been looking for a different challenge for at least a few years. If he's interviewed that many times. So I don't know what to make of that part of it either. So I don't know. I really don't know. Kevin, what's going on? Welcome.
Hey, John, how are you?
I'm good. What's going on, man? What do you make of this?
You caught me off guard there a little bit. The MOU is garbage, John. I mean, I don't know how you defend it. I really don't. And especially like that, you come up with that it was offered to us, like it's the committee's fault or something that they came up with this. And that you go to like the most baseline or, the most ridiculous argument that, whenever that it was produced after all this kerfuffle, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that whenever it was produced, it's just like insider trading, special treatment. It's just not Notre Dame. So where does that ever happen in other sports? The special clause that we need a special clause to get in.
Oh, this is juicy. Okay, let me push back on this. When does it happen in other sports that a team that normally would miss the playoffs by 10 spots gets in by some goofy rule?
Well, that's not his question because I figured you'd know. Yeah.
Right? But if you're going to say, where do you get that special treatment? I'm going to say, where in what other sport does the 24th ranked team get to jump the 10th ranked team to make the playoffs?
But that's the argument I'm hearing all over the place. Like, and what the chat, the guy came up with, like, everybody wants to skip that. Who's skipping that? Everybody brings that up. Nobody's happy about the little league teams getting in. But I mean, that is the problem. We're not addressing that problem with the MOU. It's such a bad play. The chances that we will use it, you'd have to be 10 or 11. Like, yeah, there's some weird scenario where it could be 9. It is so thin. The chances are so thin of us ever using it.
Like, that's the thing, man. The chances are so thin. It just happened this year, 1 year before the rule kicks in. So, like, if the odds were low, they just hit.
Yeah. I mean, who would want that? I mean, I don't want to bump off Miami. I want them. I want the powers that be, ESPN, whoever else, to just admit we belong in, not because of some special clause. And yeah. One other thing is just kind of an interesting side bit is that they kind of fixed it this year when they said that there'll be, the 5 champions. 4 of them are from the Power 4. Well, that would have fixed it for us also. That would have put Miami in. We would have been 11th behind Miami. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's other fixes here. This is like it's patching the dam with bubblegum. It's just not smart. It's not diplomatic. It paints us as this, elitist. We got special clauses bullshit.
So,
sorry for my French.
What was your reaction when Notre Dame was the first out because they got bumped by the 2 non-Power 5 or whatever? Was your reaction, hey, Notre Dame, you lost 2 games, this is what happens? Or did you have any anger at the process? Or, like, where were you at on that?
Oh, I was furious.
But at who?
I'm still not over it. Yeah.
Everybody was furious. But was it at Notre Dame for losing games to put us in position to get bumped? Or was it at the process? Or was it all of that?
I mentioned this last time. I thought you were being hyperbolic by saying we weren't getting in. I was like, come on, But you were right. You were dead right there. That move when they put Alabama above us was signaling that, yeah, like Dan Patrick said, we were being set up for disappointment. Yeah, I was furious. I was at the Sorens, used to be Sorens, the Morris Inn, and it was dead quiet. I was surprised not everybody was paying attention to the TV, but everybody knew as soon as it came out. Like it was like a funeral in there. It was
Yeah.
terrible. I could not believe it happened. But your point, like, no, I don't Bevacqua is not representing us well at all. I mean, I really hate to, talk about him being, with us. But I mean, he's not addressing that at all. He went on Dan Patrick, talking about how, well, we have no problem with any team out there, but we have a problem with how it rolled out. Well, however it rolled out, we should have been ahead. We should have definitely been in there.
Okay. But you kind of saying that kind of negates your point of being mad at Notre Dame looking for protection they could get. Right? Like you're saying it was wrong and we should have been in, but then you're also blaming Notre Dame's leadership for trying to protect us from that happening. So you're kind of playing both sides on this, are you not?
No. I mean, that's just
How?
not the way you go. You go about it the good old fashioned way. You get up if it's a camp. I said it in the chat. I mean, you're like you're going in the wind if you try to go against the media. I don't see how you can really go up against that. But maybe it would have helped. But just
see,
simply argue our schedule, what we have done, who they lost to, argue the facts. Don't come up with some roundabout way of doing it.
And then it's like, okay, and a part of this was Swarbrick involved as well. Not just, I think this MOU thing was a part of this, even going back to Swarbrick wanting this, by the way. But I'm going to ask, if you're Bevacqua or Swarbrick or whatever, and you're doing this and you're in that playoff room with all these negotiations, like, is your job to do something just so Notre Dame doesn't take some rough social media and ESPN critiques? Or is your job to get in that room and negotiate what puts Notre Dame closest to winning a championship that the other people in the room will sign off on? Like, what is your job in that role? Is it to just make sure you don't get bad pub by people that hate us? Or is it to negotiate till you get the other people to sign off to put us in a good position? What's the role?
The former, that you just go at it, you argue the merits of our schedule, of our resume, and that's it. To come up with, it's insider trading. It's, I don't know what to call it, but it's not right. I mean, like, okay, what other sport does that happen? Well, I guess that's a whole conversation, but no.
But man, I struggle with this. When you say what other sport does it have? What other sport has an arbitrary group of random people decide who gets to make the tournament? Like that's where I struggle. When you go, what other sport has this? No other sport has a random board of people that just pick who they think is good to make the playoffs. So we're already off on a weird track here, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, but like the idea that AI or something else, or they're going to standardize this enough, maybe that is the direction where they standardize it, the criteria, and so everybody has a better understanding of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, where we're at now, no, you're going to need a committee. There's really no way around that. We're going to have to trust somebody to make the decision. They're not so far off all the time. I said it when it happened. It was a tough decision. I'm not making it out like we were head and shoulders above everybody else, but we definitely had a solid resume there, and that was the thing to argue. And furthermore on that point, like the big, I keep blaring that horn about the Big Ten, but I mean, we are the sore thumb here. We're the one with it. If it's to be standardized at all, we are the outlier and make it difficult for them to compare apples to apples. And so that's another argument there. But I would love to see it standardized. I'd love to see Notre Dame in the Big Ten play everybody once every 2 years, 9 and 9. Then you got 3 more games, and you play every other conference, and that across the board, so that everybody has something like a similar schedule. Of course, it's going to be tougher in the Big Ten and the SEC, and that should be taken into account.
Yeah.
But you would have something to go on there. But in this instance, where they jerked us around, that just happens. And we'd be sitting on the outside going, okay, wait till next year. And we'd be in a better position tactically, diplomatically. And we should have gone to the bowl.
Yeah, these are an interesting perspective. I actually like getting pushback from a Notre Dame fan, right? Like, at least that shows me you critically think about the things we do. I actually do appreciate this, man. Anything else you have? I understand where you're coming from and how it comes off. It's just all of this is so convoluted and some of it illogical that it's tough to make sense of.
Yeah, well, we make it more convoluted with this clause for sure. I mean, that's the first thing to address. It's just, I don't know how you defend it. I mean, everybody going to extremes about the other conferences and all that. Yeah, that's a point, but that's what to take on. I guess there's a lawsuit there if we don't include
like
the
you're like
group of
you're
five.
like I don't know how you defend it. The defense is, why is a team that is ranked 24th in the playoff over a team ranked 10th? Isn't that the defense? Like that's my defense. You're like, how do you defend it? I defend it by asking, in a 12-team playoff, why is the 24th ranked team in it and the 10th ranked team isn't? That's the defense.
Well, the way I heard it, there's a lawsuit brewing if they do that the group of five would be suing, or the group of six would be suing if they weren't included. I mean, I agree, hands down, that they shouldn't be in it. They should have their own.
Yeah, like an antitrust thing, you're all ganging up against us type deal. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a complicated thing. The reality is this thing may be going to 16 or 24 soon. You're going to have a wider net to be able to include everybody with the pulse that maybe thinks they should be in, and maybe that alleviates the problem.
Well, I mean, it takes away from the regular season. I'll make that last point here, is that our schedule is soft. I mean, it's not great. Nobody's going to put it up with the best schedules around there. And, going to games is fun. Everybody is just waiting for the playoffs. Everybody watches the games at home. We see all these other fans take over our stadium. Every game should count. We play these unexciting teams. It takes away from the old school nature of the game, that every game is fun. Just even beating Purdue is fun. They got us a few times not too long ago. Make everything a rivalry. And stop with this. Just like I'm absolutely all about the championship. Don't get me wrong. Everybody wants to call me like a spy or something like that. That's malarkey. I'm in it from birth, and we should make the regular season more exciting. We are just, all we're doing, watering down the regular season so we can have a run at the playoffs is not the way to go.
Yeah, everything is a give take here. If you give some on one side, you're taking some on the other side. Like, there are a lot of those dynamics here. Hey, man, I really appreciate the call. I said earlier, I like the pushback from a genuine place from a Notre Dame fan. I think that's healthy.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that credit, and thank you for what you do.
No problem, man. I love doing it. Call again. I appreciate it. The other problem with scheduling really, really tough is Notre Dame people want that tough schedule, blah, 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 blah. You're putting yourself at a disadvantage if everybody else is trying to do the opposite, and you want to have 10 tough games in a row, and then Indiana plays, 3 junior high schools, 1 good Big Ten team, and then they set up that way. Like, you're asking for trouble there. You'll feel good about your schedule because it's a tough team every week, but you're going to have a tougher time making the playoff. So, it's Renee wants to pop in and pop out. There's a couple new names here, people that haven't been in a while. We're going to get to you. Renee, what's up, baby?
Buddy, how are you? Hey, man, sorry, let me put you on. Sorry, because I know the best, man. There we go. Can you hear me, John?
Yep, I got you. What's on your mind?
Hey, buddy. No, real quick. Like, I was talking, I had a conversation with some people. First of all, who cares about Sham Fruit Newton Toolbag, wannabe Little Richard? He's just another celebrity trying to stay relevant, bro. He's past his time. He's trying to stay relevant. He had one good season with the Panthers. He had one good season with Auburn, and like, he's irrelevant. He's just trying to. That's why he dresses like Little Richard, bro. You know what I mean? So let's get that out of the way. As far as Mickens, hey, man, like, that's the job, right? As a coach, to elevate not just your players but your coaches. And I don't know what will happen. I agree with you 100%. The guy who's helped develop Xavier Watts, who was the 2-time, in my opinion, rather than just the voters. The two-time best defensive player in the country, 2 years in a row running. He got the one, and then the second year, obviously he got robbed, and he had a phenomenal year. But we got to national title, right? Without him, it would not have been like he's like three dudes, man. Especially considering he went from wide receiver to different positions. So as far as the schedule, because I was having conversation. So losing Mickens, to your point, man, it's a big loss. I think it's a big loss, and maybe he's not DC material. Like I've said this over and over. We got some dude that had three high school titles, amazing DC, brilliant, brutal, mad scientist, X's and O's, right? And we were just going one way, and we brought him over. We had this rich millionaire of an OC. Um, Gave us a Texas style press box, NFL style field, man. We had game day, not huddle, and only like a few college teams had it, man. Like this dude was wealthy, man. So, anyways, brings over this DC because he's a fan of him. Our offense is great. Our offense is great. Bring over this DC. Brutally mad scientist, bro. Couldn't coach kids up for anything. And I'm not saying that's how Mickens is. 'Cause obviously, Mickens can coach.
Yeah.
But maybe his X's and O's, and that's why he hasn't landed at DC. But you know what? Good for Mickens. Maybe he has children, and maybe some tuitions are gonna be a little bit more expensive than others. Not everybody can have a Vinny that's got a scholarship to Brown like Coach Freeman, man. But uh, the best of luck. May God bless him and be with him on his journey, man. Thank you for what you did at ND. And the memories he brought in and the standard he set to building that DB room, right? The standard he set, considering what we had. To touch on Kevin's point, I agree with them. And the reason, like I said, like I've told you guys, always no pity pat schedules because then go to and you know what? I'm against even having 12 teams. Go to 8 teams. 4 Power 5 conference championships, Notre Dame and 3 others, man. Go to 8 teams because it does take away. Look, the reason why we look bad and irrelevant is because when we got to the Rose Bowl, when we got to the Fiesta Bowl, when we got to the Orange Bowl, we couldn't win them. But Michigan hadn't had up until 2 years ago hadn't had an outright national title for almost 80 years. Remember, that 97 title was a split national title with Nebraska. It was. It was, okay? And because Brian Kelly, swamp ass trash, wouldn't get us ready for the big games. And we lost those big games. And that's why people said we were irrelevant. But the truth is we weren't. Georgia didn't win it for 60 years, right? Like so that's the thing is when we got to those big bowl games, we couldn't win them. But go to 8 teams, go to the 4 power conferences. Hey, if you're gonna have 20 teams in your conference, hey, dude, winner take all. You get to go represent us, right? Isn't that the way track and Olympics is done? Hey, you won the meet. You get to go represent the United States against the world. You get to go represent the conference against the world. You won the conference. The 4 power. Hey, sorry, dude. Duke 8-5. You won the conference, bro. Go represent. Like truth be told, and then the flower, and then yeah, you do line up. If you're a tough guy, like I've said, line them up, bring it. Hey, when we're doing block, look, these ones weigh more than these ones. Those ones weigh more than that one. These ones weigh more than this one. Look, more different style of block halves, regulars, bro. Where's the 12-inch ones? Look, I'll show you. Here's these big 12-inch, and I'm sorry, it's just. Oh, look, yeah, 10-inch, 12-inch, solid bottoms. These are solid. They weigh more. Hey, take them on. You know my opinion on that. Take them all on. I don't disagree with Kevin. Take them on, hey, bro. And uh, you've made one last point. Take them all on. Cause I want to hit your points. I get all over the place because you see the mess I gotta clean up now. You seen the wall I was knocking down, and so if you're that dude, if you guys are that dude, take them on. Take them all on. I mean, let these FCS schools sort themselves out how they're going to. They can maintain themselves. Take everybody on, and then crown a real tough guy at the end. And the last thing you talk about an ish member. Everybody was big on Peyton Manning winning the national title because he was a great player to watch in college. He was a great player to watch in the NFL. But remember, Tennessee didn't win the title until they got T. Martin and Jamal Lewis. You know what I mean? If you're a college football fan, you should know that. Remember, everybody like Tennessee's gonna win it. We got Peyton, we got this, that, but they didn't win it till T. Martin and Jamal Lewis about a year or two after. And I think that's where we're at, man. Losing Jeremiah and that running back combo, man, and Mickens and everybody else that's in this class, man, was a heartbreaker. But things are rolling in. And John, I've been on here too long because I know you want to get people in. But buddy, those are my points. I'm sticking with them. I love you guys, man. Onward Notre Dame. Hey, Johnny, the train. I think from Utah, still, I think it ends in Chicago. So hey, man, there you go. Okay, buddy. I love you
I
guys.
like it. I like it. We'll
I'll,
talk about that offline. We'll see if it actually makes sense for me to get out there for BYU.
oh,
Maybe I'll convert for the weekend or something. Try and blend in. We'll see. Hey, be safe out there. Okay.
all right, guys. Onward, Notre Dame.
Have a good one. Be safe now. Oh man, I love that guy's energy. Jake, what's going on? Mike, I got you coming up. You've been waiting a long time. Jake, what's up? Jake from State Farm.
I can't understand you.
Hello? Hey, what's up, Jake? Hello.
I can't understand you.
He's gone. I don't know what happened to him. Mike, what's going on, Mike?
Hey, John, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing really good. I'm enjoying the lively discussion and debate this morning. What's on your mind? What do you make of things?
Hey, real quick before I get in with you on your questions on Mickens and the schedule and just everything else, is it Luis that just got off the phone, the construction guy?
That is Renee, and then
Or
Luis
Renee.
is our other one. Yeah, we have Renee and Luis, man. Those guys keep America running, baby.
Right. Yeah, I know Luis. He and I had, when I was on Twitter, which by the way, I got off Twitter here about a week ago, so I'm done with that. But yeah, so I've talked to Luis before. But Renee's point on Tennessee and T. Martin and Peyton Manning, here's an interesting thing. I think if you remember, I've told you this season I had a chance to go to a few games, so I went to the OU Tennessee game in Neyland. Well, it's funny. He mentions T. Martin and Peyton Manning in the national championship with T. Martin. Peyton Manning's name is on their ring of honor in the stadium. T. Martin's isn't. And T. Martin got him the national championship. It goes to show you what they think of T. Martin.
Yeah.
But no, the interesting thing about this schedule and everything that everybody's kind of bitching about is, I'm not going to say that anybody's forgetting this, but just think about the fact that these schedules, as you know, are made years in advance. So is it up to us to decide whether or not Michigan State or Wisconsin is going to have a good season by the time 2026 rolls around? Or how did we know when we made SMU, whenever that got inked, they weren't any good. Now look at them. Now they're good. So, and Miami wasn't good. Now they're good.
Mike, that exact line of thinking is what tomorrow's video I'm posting on YouTube is exactly about. Is you could have frustrations with Notre Dame's schedule, but who you're blaming for it sometimes needs to be discussed. And you were hitting on exactly the point of tomorrow's episode, going over some of the teams Notre Dame's played that it's like you put a brand name on the schedule and they don't hold up their end of the deal. Why is that Notre Dame trying to schedule bad teams? You know?
Yeah. And, back on that Tennessee OU game, just to reiterate something I established at the end of the season when the playoffs came about, and then we were rightly snubbed, we should have been in. But one of the points that I made was, people talk about the SEC and how look, it was vaunted 5+ years ago. It's not vaunted anymore. So five plus years ago, go back to 2012. Consistently, you had Auburn, Georgia, you even had Tennessee. You had Alabama in there. You had LSU. You had 5, 6, 7 teams in there consistently that were winning 9, 10 games, and they were world beaters. That's not the case anymore. And part of why I say that is because I sat in 3 SEC stadiums within the last 2 years. I was in Norman, and I was in Neyland, and I was in College Station. Now, we saw, 2 times what Texas A&M was like, and we could have beat them on our home field. Had we not done some things, we could go down the Carson Hobbs thing, whatever. But sitting in Norman watching OU and Ole Miss, and then going to Neyland and watching Tennessee and OU again, folks, I'm just telling you guys, and this isn't going to be a biased opinion just because I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. Notre Dame would have run roughshod over those teams, and we would have run roughshod over Alabama had we gotten the playoffs. And I don't care what anybody says. I saw it with my own eyes. The athletes on the field that I saw at Arkansas and at USC this year, across the board, are 5 times better than anything that Tennessee, OU, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Texas A&M put on the field, and Alabama. And that's where our bitch should have been. That's where Bavacqua should have been bitching about, was Alabama getting in over us, and even OU. I mean, I get OU a little bit because of their record, but the fact that Alabama got in over us is a thing that bugged me more than anything, because I knew in my heart of hearts, on any field in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa, in the Orange Bowl, pick a neutral field, we would have housed Alabama. We certainly would have housed OU. And I think the powers that be in college football knew this. They saw what we did last year. We took all the money in 3 playoff games. That pissed them off. They found a way to get us out. They knew this beforehand. They were looking for ways to keep us out. And they're going to do the same thing again. If people think this year and what happened with the playoffs and their backdoor deals and whatever they did to keep Notre Dame out of the playoff, if they thought there was some shenanigans being pulled then, you better keep an eye on it this year, because if we lose one game, and it's not the Miami game, we're not getting in. Because the way our schedule sets up and the way everybody's talking about it, regardless of when we made it, regardless of how the teams turned out with Michigan State, with Wisconsin, et cetera, and down line, with that schedule, if we lose one game and it's not the Miami game, we're out. They're going to find a way to keep us out of the top 12.
That's interesting. I have come to the realization 2 lost Notre Dame with the type of schedule we had last year and this year is clearly not going to cut it. Wouldn't you think 11-1 you would be in the field? Maybe they would try and jerk you down to where you don't have a home game, but you would be in at 11-1.
11-1 would have to go down like this, John. We would have to win every game, which I think we probably will anyway. I'm on board with that scorched earth Notre Dame 2026. We would have to win every game, which we probably could and should, by at least 3 touchdowns. A lot of those games we'll win by more than 3 touchdowns. We need to mix in some shutouts in there. We need to hold teams below 14 points on average, or even lower if we can. The Miami game has got to be an overtime loss or a last-second 75-yard field goal by Miami. Those are the only criteria I see that would get us in. If we lose, if that Miami game is a convincing loss for if it's a convincing win of Miami over us, that's going to be very tough. I mean, we'll fall to the bottom 12, 10, 11, 12. But I find it very hard, the way they're looking at us right now, the way they looked at us this year, the way they looked at us, I'm going to find it very difficult for them to put us in with 1 loss. We got to run the table. In my mind, flat out, we got to run the table.
Yeah, it's I have thought about this too, of like, okay, the standard is set there. The benefit to having a weaker perceived schedule is it should be easier to win a lot of games. The downside of it is if you lose 1 or 2, you're in a bad spot. Last year was the perfect combination, man, of like overall a schedule nobody was overly impressed with, but you lost the first 2. It was the perfect storm.
Well, see, and that's why I say this year, I'm not holding back, and we, with Mickens gone, and I'll say something on him in a sec. We cannot start the season the way we did last year. And what I mean by that is not just the losses. We can't go in there unprepared. And you look back at that Miami and Texas A&M game, I wonder whose responsibility it was to put Carson Hobbs on the field. Somebody had to recognize when he was out there, wait a second. And it had to be Ash and Mickens button heads at some point. Somebody's got to say, okay, wait a minute. Why is he on the field? Somebody had to see he wasn't the best player at that time to cover any of those wide receivers, and it didn't happen. I mean, somebody had to have made that call, and whoever's responsibility it was, whether it was Mickens or Ash, to recognize the package that we were in, the point of the game that we were in, the trouble we were having covering those guys, who is the best player. And if it was Hobbs, they clearly didn't have their homework completed going into those 2 games.
Yeah.
They need to figure that out week 1. They got to have their established rosters. As somebody said earlier, hat on hat in spring ball leading all the way into the first game. these things have got to be figured out. You can't be piecemealing this together starting. Now you have some grace because your schedule's weak, but you got to have that stuff figured out. You got to know who's your top dogs and keep them out there from day
That
one.
was going to be my point is you should have the advantage of you're not in a game with razor thin margins of error to be able to win. So you should be able to not have to be near perfect to get off to a good start this year. But you're right. Something went wrong there with what they were identifying and what they thought they had. And by the time you moved away from it, you're looking at 0-2.
Yeah. Now on Mickens with him leaving here, look, the cupboard is stocked right now. So I think you have about a 2-year window tops to figure out who's going to replace him. And if we know Marcus Freeman and Pete Bavacqua, they're going to pull a rabbit out of the hat. I know the guy down in OU has been looked at. O'Leary's name has been mentioned. There's been some names out there that people are talking about. But if we know Marcus Freeman and the way he does things here with his staff, there's somebody that's not even on the radar. It could be somebody in the NFL right now that comes down. But I just have to think that he's got somebody up his sleeve that nobody's even talking about. He's going to pull in, and it's going to be like a partridge hire, and everybody's going to go, holy cow, we got that guy. Wow, we're set for 5 years. With Mickens gone, here's what I think is going to happen. I think Notre Dame is going to win the national championship this year in 2026, maybe even in 2027. Marcus Freeman, and then he's going to bolt, and Mickens is going to come back and be the head coach at Notre Dame. That's how I think this is going to play out. But I find it ironic that he made a jump to the NFL when a lot of people were skeptical of his abilities, whether or not he could be a defensive coordinator, or even coaching material in the NFL was a shock. But that's a huge leap. I mean, that's not a lateral move. That's a big jump. And I wish him all the best. But I think we're going to be fine. I think the talent's there. You're not going to have that great of a coach to come in and really coach these guys up. Because I think Ash and Partridge and Freeman are going to piecemeal their talents together to keep this group, what it is, and make them, that dominant force that helps us shut a lot of teams out, or at least have a difficult time trying to throw the ball.
Yeah, it's man, I get where you're coming from there, but I don't know, man. 26 seems to be the window here. I think you got to make a title run here. CJ Carr might go to the league. A lot of that defense is going to go to the league after 26. So this is a big year. It all lines up.
Yeah. But we, as you said, and a lot of people have said, and all of our media arms that are related to Notre Dame have pointed out, and even I've seen some stuff on ESPN and some other outside sources that have said Notre Dame is stacked. In fact, ESPN had a thing about a week ago where they had their preseason ranking and their possibilities in the playoff matches, and they had us beating Oregon in the national championship, which I can see happening. I like you said, our team is stacked top to bottom. We got to figure some things out on the offensive line. I think the defensive line will be good. Linebackers, defensive backfield's good. Offense, we got some good wide receivers. If those two Ohio State cats step up in any way, CJ Carr is going to have field day throwing the ball against our schedule. And our running game, I'm not looking for another Jeremiah Love or Jadarian Price. Look, those are generational talents. But I do think we will be better from this standpoint. I think our short game packages are going to produce a lot better. And I think our goal line, inside the red zone is going to be a lot more productive with these running backs we're going to have. I think Aeneas Williams is going to be able to find some holes down there on the goal line that we had some troubles with. So I think will we have a dynamic 65-yard touchdown run every other week? Probably not. But are we going to have a good running game that is reliable and is going to be one of the best in the country? Absolutely. I think the talent is there to do just that.
Yeah, it's man. Yeah, listen, the reality is all of these changes or whatever with the staff and all that, Notre Dame is operating like a top 5 operation right now with overall as an institution, as a football program. They are operating at a very, very high level. That's why I'm not worried about some huge drop off of the secondary and the corners all falling apart. It's a high level institution right now with the football. I think that's going to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%, John.
Hey, Mike, thanks for jumping in today, buddy. Stay warm.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
We'll see ya. We're getting some new people in the mix, man. I love that. I love that. Let's get Brendan, then we'll go to some of the regulars here. What's going on, Brendan? Actually, Brendan's pretty regular, but not all the time. Are you still overseas, or am I dreaming that?
So I'm back in the South Bend. So back from overseas. Yeah, I was in Japan for a little while.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're back here. What's on your mind, man? Anything on Mickens? Anything on the scheduling playoff debate? Where's your head at?
Hey, John. Yeah. So firstly, hey, I really am sorry. I think it was a couple weeks ago or whatever, I was driving to my brother's wedding in Kentucky, and I was just blabbering on. I couldn't hear you. So I didn't mean to talk over you pretty bad the last time.
No, it was actually kind of funny because I knew what was happening and you just kept going. It's like, well, I'm just going to let the guy go then.
Yep, there you go.
Who needs me?
All right. I have a few different thoughts. And I do appreciate, I believe it was Kevin's call earlier in the show, because it is good to get different perspectives. And charitably, I think it is true, right? We do need to schedule tough, and we do need to win all our games. Outside of that, I disagree with everything that guy said. I think we are so far off the mark with our perspective essentially being tainted and poisoned by national narratives. One, conferences are not the default position of college football. There is no default like organization of college football. The NCAA is the governing body of college football, as jacked up as it is. Like, God did not appoint the SEC or the freaking Big Ten or the Big 12 or whoever. Notre Dame has stayed exactly the same for like the past 100 years. And if all these other knuckleheads do what they think is in their best interest to change the organization structure for deals or whatever, that's all well and good. But we're not beholden, and we shouldn't feel like we're kind of cheating our way into success because conferences have changed, or because people feel like so-and-so need, like, after the conference championships. Like, why should, if you're talking about special treatment in the MOU, I'm mad at freaking Bavakova for not giving us top 5, or we should get it for in the top 20. Why don't we get a JMU deal? Top 12 is low budget, baby. He should have been bargaining even harder. So I guess, I'm really frustrated with, like, conferences aren't sacred. F the conferences.
Well, man, I made the argument tangential to where you're at. I made this argument when the Notre Dame USC scheduling debate became a thing. And I was saying, why are we positioned as like the bad ones or whatever, when we have been the same for 100 years? They change everything about what they're doing to make more money and have a bigger profile in the Big Ten. And then, like, somehow we're the wrong one. We are steady Eddie, man. You know what you're going to get out of Notre Dame. We are what we've always been. They're the ones changing everything, but then we're the bad ones. You're the ones changing everything.
Yes, everything's changing. And I guess, most fundamentally, and again, I just implore you, the SEC is not the same thing as it was 15 years ago. Like, you can't have the same number of games scheduled at all these other teams and still say, like, the SEC champ matters. Texas A&M's schedule was not remotely close to Texas's schedule, who was not remotely close to, like, freaking Ole Miss. Ole Miss had, like, the same schedule that we did. And so, but they get, like, it's all the conferences really do is they put they pull the wool over people's eyes, where it's like, oh, the Big Ten champion at IU. IU did not have, like, even remotely hard Big Ten schedule, but because there's a Big Ten stamp next to it, it like blesses the whole darn thing. When it's all like a charade, it's freaking joke.
Yeah, that is. I actually just wrote about that, like, this morning. Actually, it's not up yet. About there's conference cover that it's like you're not going to get this scrutiny because it's like, well, they're in a Power 4 conference, and then it's never going to get the scrutiny that an independent does, because people think we just handpick the loserish teams we could find right before the year.
Yes, I strongly recommend to everybody. Just like, Twitter is a cesspool, man. You go on there and it's 16 posts in a row, the most ridiculous schedule of all time. I think Notre Dame did exactly what it was supposed to do. It put, at the time that they were making the schedule, they got a lot of big names on there. It is not our fault that Wisconsin sucks. Half their team transferred, so maybe they'll be great next year. But, like, it's not our fault that Michigan State sucks. It's not our fault that the ACC is down hard. Whoever, right? Like,
Purdue used to be a very respectable program. They're down. Michigan State, Notre Dame, Michigan State have had great battles going back 80 damn years. Physical, tough, hard-nosed football. It's not our fault they suck. Even Stanford. I'm at the age range where I was watching Harbaugh and Shaw beat the hell out of Notre Dame at Stanford. And I don't know. Why is it our fault they all suck?
Yeah, so I guess I would just say, if you feel like you're worried about what conferences, how other folks perceive our schedule, just understand, right? They're just taking essentially top cover from the fact that a conference commissioner randomly assigns the schedule every year or every 2 years or whatever. I mean, SEC kind of jiggers some stuff around, so they always have like the same 3 teams for people, whatever it is. Also, but hey, it's not our fault that IU schedule sucks because we don't control it. But then MFR, the stuff you do control, you do Three Sisters of the Poor. So it's like, how is it both thing? Notre Dame is scheduling name conferences. Maybe you can critique Rice, but literally everyone has like a made up team on their gosh dang schedule. So no, I think Notre Dame is doing exactly what they should do, and it really is just a consequence of talent is dispersed due to NIL and all the transfer portal stuff, but that does pretty much crush the bottom half of all the conferences. And I guess to illustrate my point, I was doing a little bit of independent research there, John.
I like that. Keeping with the independent theme. I like it.
That's right. So if you look at the FPI, right? So that's what ESPN uses as their like strength of, quality of team measure, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it's important because it feeds into strength of schedule and rankings, all this kind of stuff. So the delta between IU, which ended up being number 1, and University of Southern Florida, which was the 25th, was 20 points. So essentially in power points, IU was 20 points better than USF at 25. The next 20-point delta gets you all the way from 25 to 99. So, there's not that huge, like there's good teams at the top, and there's a pretty sharp, cutoff really between say the top 12 or 13 teams and then like the next kind of tier, but pretty much from 25 almost to like all the way at the end, it's just all essentially the same. And, for people who worry about strength of schedule, like you'll say, oh, they have the 14th strength of schedule, they have the 74th strength of schedule. They don't show you what the actual number is behind the calculation. The delta between that stuff could be 2 points or something, right? And so, it's one of those things, like the stats can kind of say whatever you want to say to fit a narrative. And so I think the only answer is because we are not, I think people want people say they want a more competitive or equal system. I just the only way that ever happens is that the big college football is going to have to break off to something much more manageable, which is probably like 40. Is probably like 40 teams or something, and they're going to have to be way more structure, and it's going to be all this stuff where people's like, hey, it's the conferences need to get. Well, I'm sorry, there needs to be like schedule equality, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of strings that come attached to that, and it's like all the extra strings that like the NFL or baseball or Premier League or whatever put on it. None of that exists in college, and so you're trying to fit like a square peg into a round hole when it comes to making things equal, because the way things are now, it absolutely is not, and essentially cannot be, unless they completely upend the whole sport.
Yeah, it's a complicated thing. Do you think, Brendan, are we headed to some mega conference where all the Power 4 teams were in a big group, they break away from the NCAA, form their own governing body, and then it's a geographical schedule kind of in these pods? A part of me thinks that's where this is headed. I connecting with this NCAA, I don't think that's going to be lasting much longer. Do you think that?
Something probably does have to change. I mean, I saw the story where Rutgers is losing like $75 million per year or something. And so, I mean, people aren't really talking about this either, but the overall school eligible population is starting to go down, right? So like the number of people going to state schools, like if you do the projections or whatever, over the next 15, 20 years, it's like there's just going to be fewer people, right? Which means less revenue, which means all the trickle down effects of it is that the ability for the moneymakers to support the lower schools to essentially serve as the bottom feeders to fill out a schedule, that's going to break. And so, yes, probably what that will end up meaning is there's folks who have the money, resources, and fan bases to support big time college football. I don't think it's going to have to be an amalgamation of something. I guess I'm disgusted with the idea that we would join one of the existent conferences, because I just don't like. I hate that with every fiber of my being, and I absolutely would be. I don't know. It'd be hard, genuinely hard. I don't know if I'm crazy or not, but it would be genuinely hard to watch Notre Dame be a part of the Big Ten. Now,
a part of me, Brendan, a part of me wonders if the path here is Notre Dame's leadership's frustrated with the ACC agreement and everything about it. They're going to ride it out and see what comes next. And if it's a mega conference, maybe you could slide right in there, negotiate what you need, and not have to technically join the Big Ten or do something else. Maybe they could thread that needle if that's where the sport's headed. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and so if it does end up being, okay, who's going to play big time college football and who's not, I do want Notre Dame to be a part of that. But then it would be over, maybe it's called the Big Ten, which wouldn't make any sense at that point if we have 40 teams or whatever. But I mean, so long as we show up kind of with everyone else as equal players, and we can represent ourselves. And, we're the Detroit Lions and we're going to play against the Bears or whatever. And it's all, all the teams are relatively equal. It's just, there's a tiered system right now in most of the conferences. And, yeah, I don't see this being sustainable long term for a lot of different reasons. And yeah, when you look at kind of the economics behind some of the bottom feeder schools, it really doesn't make sense, which is crazy when you think about all the investments. I'm sorry, all the revenue they generate. But it's it's kind of a zero sum game, right? Like everyone has top notch facilities. Those are no longer top notch facilities relative to somebody else, right? So it's like a never ending arms race, and eventually the money's going to run out. And there's the conference has to go 500, right? So there's going to be teams that win a bunch and teams that lose a bunch. And so we'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, I just want to I don't know. It gets me riled up when people just say, hey, we just need to join a conference, or we should care what other people think about our schedule. No, we should win all our games. If we get to a point where we're scheduling, Tennessee State and Indiana State and Villanova and all this craziness, and we have nobody, then maybe, obviously that would not be the right direction. I don't think we'd ever get to that point. Schedule big names. We did that. Win our games this coming year. We're going to do that. And, I do wish Coach Mickens the best. It is a little bit rough to lose someone who's been such a rock for a little while, but this is a good problem to have. We want coaches who are sought after. And then, Coach Freeman just has a little bit of like, I think we forget how young he is. And, this is something he needs to get good at, is building and developing successful coaches, having them depart and getting a new crop of successful coaches, and then repeating that cycle, I think is when things are fully up round.
Yeah. Man,
so, yeah.
Brendan, good stuff. Covered a lot of ground. If you're back in South Bend, I expect to see you at that blue and gold tailgate.
Well, actually, John, I'm heading out again in mid-February, so I'm gonna miss y'all, but I will be there in spirit. But yeah, I appreciate the show,
man.
John. Hopefully you stay in warm enough.
We got to meet up sometime when you're in the greater South Bend area, not doing your travel, buddy. Hey, thanks a lot, Brendan. Be safe out there.
All right, John, take it easy, baby. Go Irish.
Enjoy the warm South Bend weather. Let's oh man, let's keep it moving. Tom, what's going on, buddy?
Everything's hunky-dory, my friend. Brendan blows my mind. He talks so fast and he's on point.
Tom, the problem is he talks faster than I can even think.
Oh, I know.
Forget me talking fast. He talks and processes information faster than I could just do the thinking part.
Yeah, that's a talent. It's almost like he's one of those disclaimers on a commercial on a car ad.
Yeah.
Oh my God, good stuff. But he brought up some good points there, and talking about unsustainability and all the Notre Dame haters. And this is what I love now. And look, I got into it in the Patreon wall. I was on a line a few days ago. I want to apologize to everybody. But it was all over an attack from those idiots, Cam Newton and Stephen A. Smith, and the way they said Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, what have they done? That kind of stuff. And I'm so over their hate. So when everybody and all the ass pickers and nose pickers, they're still join the conference. Good. When this season progresses, they're gonna hate us even more. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's fantastic, and it wouldn't be Notre Dame without some little controversy before the season even begins, right? Mickens goes. I know you're worried about that. I've got to believe that the coaching fraternity now, maybe a decade ago, it was hard to get people here. I think people are going to climb into the box to say, hey, I'll throw my hat in the ring to see if I can coach here, because they know the talent that's coming in, and they see the schedule, and they're like, yeah, I could really motivate and elevate my status as a coach if I, as a position coach, and who knows what comes out of it. So is there anybody that's come on the wire that we know that might replace Mickens?
I know some people want the Oklahoma DB coach. I've heard that is a thing people want, but I don't know. And the other question, Tom, is Freeman had to know Mickens was itching to do something different. He's interviewed multiple cycles for other roles. This couldn't have been a total shock to Freeman. And I would wonder if he was more ahead of this project than we know, because he kind of maybe had a vibe. And then maybe you have your number 1, 2 guy you call right when it's official. But I got a feeling this couldn't have been a surprise to Freeman.
No. And the other thing, locking down a player like Joey O'Brien and not leaving the cupboard dry. What a class act.
Yeah.
On Mickens' part. So
no kidding. For a guy interviewing where you knew he had like bigger dreams, he certainly didn't check out while he was on the job here.
No, that's rare in this day and age. So there's maybe Brendan did touch on it, but who knows what happens. The life of an NFL position coach is a little tenuous at best, right? Depending on the situation. So he may surface again down the road. Go and get that NFL experience, and then I think he would become a full-fledged defensive coordinator at some point, But that'd be great to see, and I wish him all the luck in the world, because he did us a solid. And it's gonna. I can't wait to see Joey O'Brien play with the current group of guys. It's gonna be very exciting.
Hey, Tom, let me ask you about this. We've been talking about the running back dynamic. Where are you at? Like, I think they're going to be really good.
Yeah.
But just not with Jeremiah Love's alien gifts. And that's fine. That's where I'm at. I think it's going to be a very productive, exciting, good group. But that being said, I don't think anybody in it has Jeremiah Love's gifts. And I think that's fair.
Not many do. And here's the thing. You revamp that offensive, or you tweak that offensive line and make sure that because I think they're going to be a play action pass team. I really do. I think you're going to see a lot more play action and maybe even some RPO. So that changes the dynamic. I think what you're going to see too, you're going to see a lot more 21 or 22 personnel utilizing those tight ends as kind of like a fullback option, or you can use that way. You can get Aeneas Williams in with one of the swifter backs, one of the scat backs. So talent isn't the issue. It's how do you package that talent and how do you make it the most efficient? And I think they're going to be real efficient next year.
Yeah. Yeah, man, your hair's looking good this morning, Tom. Jeez, man. Jeez.
Oh God. Hey, you know what? I don't get many accolades, and I'll appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know how valuable it is coming from me, but just take it, man. As a guy with persistent hair concerns, take the compliment and run with it.
Yeah, but now it's going real gray and on the sides, and everybody's busting my chops about it. But I always say I'd rather have traitors than deserters. So my mother used to call it the Wild West of Ireland hair. That's how my hair grows. It's just like wow. But so everything's good in Crinklewood. No complaints. I think I'm so looking for. I haven't looked this forward to a blue gold game since Lou Holtz's first year.
Yeah, it's man, there's gonna be a lot to watch on the field, and we are gonna have a hell of a good weekend on top of it. So I'm excited about it.
Did they call the weekend yet? Is it the third weekend?
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it. Don't know.
Okay, and then as far as I guess the Notre Dame ticket office also. They released early tickets that you could buy for the Rice game. Does that sound right to you?
Maybe. I forget. There's usually a date where they release the single game tickets for the portal.
Yeah, that's not till June, but I guess they had a promo. So if you guys want to check that out, because you're talking about making Rice the Always Irish game, right?
Yeah, probably the early one. And then I'm going to do a second one later in the year, and we're figuring out. It may end up being Miami, but it's going to depend. I cannot verify that.
No, and that's why I brought it up, because I know, I mean, that's going to be a hot ticket, right? And it may be a difficult or a big ask, but you know what? I think we could actually put together. I don't think we're going to be able to sit together, but I think we can come up with a block of tickets, especially for the guys that are traveling from, all over the country. To me, it's no big deal for us that live closer, but and so as it gets closer, I think sometime in June, Sly Fox was telling me, as was my cousin, that somewhere in the middle of June is when they release all that information. So I think we'll be ready to go by then. And, hey, we can figure it out at the Blue Gold game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. It's a good call, man. Anything else, Tom? I owe you a call offline here this week.
Yeah. Just whenever you get a chance. But no, everything's hunky dory. I apologize for acting like an asshole on the Patreon, and I hope I didn't offend anybody. So,
oh man, it is just another day in the life of the Patreon chat, Tom. Don't worry about it. Everybody has their moments over there, but everybody knows your heart's in a good place, man. Hey, try and stay warm the rest of the day in that fine city, would you?
Amen. We'll see you guys later. Go Irish.
Have a good one. I'll talk to you. Oh, I love that guy. Let's get Luis in, and he can go back to work, and we'll go Todd and Catfish round us out.
I'm gonna go.
What up?
What's up, John? How's it going, my boy? Hold on, give me a quick second. You got me inside.
Look like you were up in some rafters or up in the heating.
Man,
what are you doing, bro? What do they got you doing?
Well, we're doing a data network right now, so I got to drop some data stuff and to some conference room for our company. So I've been doing my work with my boys. You got to lead by example. That's how Coach Freeman does it, and that's how we do it. You know what I mean? We don't stay around and we don't wait around. And let me just top it up real quick, because I have a quick minute. I want to make sure you have a good background view of this Nevada mountains right here. But real quick, guys, I understand that we're losing Mickens may hurt, but you got to see the future and the optimistic of what the Notre Dame, working for Notre Dame, what it means. And that's something that I believe that Coach Freeman and the university is bringing back. We're not looking for people to work for us now. They're calling us to come and work for us. And that's something that we lost a long time ago. You know what I mean? We lost that mystique. We lost that honor, that pride where people were like, I can't wait to get a job at Notre Dame. That's where we're back. We're living that moment. Instead of being all mumbo jumbo and crying like, oh my God, we lost Mickens. What are we going to do? Man, there's coaches out there, bro. Get your act together, because we stand on business, bro. Don't act like we never been here before. We've been here before. You just haven't noticed, and you haven't seen what it is to be at Notre Dame. Notre Dame is special. Understand that. You know what I mean? So that being said, I wish Coach Mickens, thank you for being part of us for 5.5 years, 6 years. You've done an amazing job. You restored the brand. You restored the room. You restored Notre Dame defensive back, and we are stacked to where we are able to choose the cream of the crop. We are able to tell you, welcome to Notre Dame. Now let's bring it. Let's get this thing going. Let's get this business back up and running.
I like that. Listen, this job should appeal to the very best assistants there are in the country, man. Who wouldn't want to go work with that secondary?
It's exactly, John. It's exactly, like you said, leadership brings a lot that comes with place. It makes people want to work. Like, I don't tell my guys, go do something that I wouldn't do. I'm here with them. I'm up in an attic. You know what I mean? I'm cutting out drywalls just so we can get these drops going on. You know what I mean? Work as a team, and that's what Coach Freeman does. You know what I mean? I think he's in place a great work foundation, a great environment where people are. This job is appealing for everybody now. As a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, running back, look at who we got on defensive line. I think, boy, I can't wait to see Coach. I can't say his name because I'm bad. I butchered the name like a mother. You know what? But I can't wait to see him coach up the defensive line, and I think we got something special, guys. And let's start acting like we never been here and spoiled brats or uncharted territory. We've been here before. Learn how to act. learn how to stand on business, and learn how to wear that Notre Dame pride no matter where you at. All day, every day, we are the Fighting Irish, and we play like champions all day.
I like it. I like all of that, man. It's this is going to be a big spring and a big year, and I like where things are at. Notre Dame's operating at an elite level as an overall operation, and I don't know, man. It hurts to lose Mickens. They're going to get somebody good in there. They will. They will.
Exactly. Like it's just like it hurts to see Jeremiah Love, but we're happy because he's moving on to something bigger and better. Same thing with Coach Mickens. He gave us 5.5, 6 years. Like, what you want to expect the guy to stay there forever? Like, that's not going to happen. And I pray to God that we have Coach Freeman for at least 10, 15 plus. But if we don't, he's leaving Notre Dame at a better spot at a high level that it hasn't been since Lou Holtz. But again, the university itself, it's restored what the meaning of working for Notre Dame, being part of Notre Dame, and being special and be unique of no University of Notre Dame. All credit and all kudos to everyone that's part of that. Even you, John, you know what I mean? But come on, my boy, you got to tone it down sometime. If I get our blood pressures go up, my blood pressure goes real quick. I go 0 to 100 real quick. You know what I mean? When I get bad news, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially Notre Dame, bro, I think my heart's about to give out on me. It tells me to slow the F down. You know what I'm saying? But John, we bougie, bro. We Gucci, dog. We standing on good shit right now. You know what I'm saying? So enjoy it, guys. Like let's pave the way for these coaches having it. And then you're starting to see Coach Freeman's people are moving on to bigger and better things. McCullough, Mickens, even Tommy Reese, man. Like I don't like the guy, but you know what I tell you, Tommy's homeboy over there. You know what I mean? Let him go on. You know, he's doing better things though. Larry, you know what I'm saying? His people are branching to bigger and better positions that they did when they first came in. So let's not act like that. We should be honored that, hey, the university brand is being restored and it's there now. We are able to choose. We're choosing who we want. We're going after who we want, not what we need or what we can't or what maybe could be. No. You know what I mean? From here on out, Coach Freeman, it's all on you, boss, and we believe in you, and we know that you're going to make the right decision to coach this defensive back room. And you know what, guys? There's so much to look forward to. There's so much to be excited for, and let's keep that excitement. Let's not focus on the negative. Let's change that negative into a positive, man. God bless you, Mickens, and Dios te bendiga, que, you know, do great things in the NFL. Make us proud.
Hey, be safe out there, man. You got danger written on your vest, so I'm already
concerned, man.
You're walking around and it says danger.
Exactly, boss. All right, man. You guys have a good one. Go Irish. Stand on business.
Good one, man. Thank you. I love that guy. Todd, what's going on, man?
Oh, good morning, John. Good morning. We got sunlight 2 days in a row. I can't believe it.
Yeah. It might be minus 40, but at least the sun's shining.
Well, we're 1 degree. Now I'm going to make you laugh. You were talking earlier about airplanes, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into all the details. I'll share some things at the blue and gold, but this is a picture of my second cousin, Tommy Capri. He just turned 95 this year. Okay. So at 88, he went skydiving. He's gone twice since then. He wants to go again. So that probably freak you out, right?
Todd, I've done it once.
Really?
And I got peer pressured into it. I didn't want to do it. I was 18 years old and I was working at a golf course, and the golf pro also had his private pilot license, and he paid to take all the golf club worker guys and go skydiving for free. I didn't want to go. I told them I'll watch the pro shop. You guys all go. I did it once at 18. It was scary. I'm glad I could check it on the list. Never again, though. Never again. I was so nervous. I was not excited. I was nervous. It was a rush. I'll never do it again. You're tempting fate, jumping out of a perfectly functioning plane on purpose, and I'm not doing it again. I'll post a picture. I did it once. I'll post a picture here later.
Well, anyway, so you and I have something in common. I worked at a golf course for 3 years too. So cutting cups and mowing the greens and the aprons and
You
You
get
know, but
that tool that digs the hole, to cut the hole the right way and take it out.
oh
and
yeah,
move
you got to
it,
put,
fill
and then
it
you
back
got to
in.
right.
Yeah.
You got to measure the distance and cut it off because you got to get the right amount so it lays
Yeah.
flat on it. Oh yeah, yeah. I was 18, 19, or let's see, 19, 20, and 21 when I did it.
You
But
know what we
anyways,
don't have in common, Todd, is our hairlines. Look at your hair too. I have all you guys on that are 20 years older than me. Look at your hair.
well, the fact of
You
the
look
matter
like
is,
the silver fox in New York.
I told my wife that somebody referred to me as a silver fox. They said,
Yeah.
silver fox. And I said, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm actually 30 years older than you. I'll be 74 this year.
I'm telling you what, man, you're doing good for yourself. All right, back to the football, Todd. What do you think about Mickens? What do you think about the bitching about Notre Dame's schedule? Where do you want to go?
Okay, they checked off a couple of things for me. Schedules are made in advance. And we know that. We can't control what teams are going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road.
Yeah.
One of the things, to think that Marcus wasn't prepared for this, it'd be idiotic. He knows that. He knows how good Mickens is. He knows people are going to come for his coaches.
Yeah.
So he's a proactive coach. He's not a reactive coach. He already had people probably lined up for this that he's going to interview, knowing it was coming. Speaking of transfers, we can ill afford to have transfers out of these groups because Mickens leaves. So some way the older players have to encourage the younger players to stay. And then they have to actually show the younger players some of the things that Mickens has put into them, how to do the things that they need to do. That's kind of like, paying it ahead, paying it forward. So one of the things that gets me about the transfer portal, how do you sign a $4 million contract with a college? You sign your name to it, and then all of a sudden you decide, I don't want this anymore. You go in the portal, the school sues you, and I'd say the judge would say, hey, I'm sorry, you signed the contract. You just can't break a legal binding contract. Somehow, some way, he managed to break that contract. Now he's headed for Miami as their quarterback, and he's taken the star receiver with him. How does that? Tell me there aren't shenanigans involved in this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I struggle with it too, because we're in a world now where the players are gaining more autonomy and power over this system than they've ever had before. They're getting paid and all that. But it's like, we want to be in this adult world with these big money contracts for like 19-year-olds or whatever. But where is the obligation to honor your legal commitments you already made?
Exactly.
Like, if we want to do this the adult way with all that money, where's the consequences for making a deal maybe you regret that you signed off on? I don't know. They said there was like a settlement. What does that even mean? What does that look like in this dynamic? What does that look like?
I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. I signed this contract. Listen, when you buy a car, unless there's something wrong with it, you can't go back the next day and say, hey, I don't want this, take all the money back. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if you listen to the talk shows, all of a sudden they want to kiss up to us because they knew we should have been in the playoffs. Over half of them are saying the only team that could have beat Indiana was Notre Dame. And that to me, don't come to me and tell me how it was supposed to be. The committee, to me, the committee did not show honesty and integrity. They let too much of the money control them. Money drives everything, and that's what happened. In fact, the one coach that I think is really cocky about it is the coach from Oregon, when he told Gundy, well, if you don't have the money to get the players, then don't compete. Well, hey, what if Phil Knight all of a sudden went bankrupt? Where would you go? Wouldn't that be nice, huh? Where are you going to go now? Don't be so cocky with your mouth knowing you got somebody behind you to back you. You still got to coach them.
That's an easy position to have when Nike is your sponsor.
Yeah, just all I got to do is sign here for what, and it'll all be covered. Yeah, that's nice. Carte blanche. So Tom was really funny. I know he's old school when he said hunky dory, and he did me a solid. He did me a solid. That's right out of the 60s, man. That's right out of the 60s. But the big thing about the playoffs, what's going to happen? We're guaranteed number 12, right? if they still have this thing in line for the group of 5 team to get in, well, if we finish 12th and we're guaranteed in, who's getting left out because the group of 5 team has to be there? Figure that one out. Who's going to be
where does the one less spot come out of?
Yeah. Where does that come from? The thing is, they need to take the group of 5 and make their own playoffs with them. Because like we discussed before, these teams, these group of 5s, their players are going to get rated. If they're good, they're going to get NILs. That's the worst thing that could happen is this NIL, is allowing them to transfer all over the place. Muffet McGraw has an idea how to kind of curb this. They need to listen to her. One transfer, that's all you're allowed. And you can transfer if your head coach leaves, not a position coach, your head coach leaves, you can take a transfer. You just can't have all these people going willy-nilly all over the place just because they want to. I mean, think about it. I'll sign for $2 million here. I'm leaving your team. I signed a 1-year deal. I'll go over here for $6 million. These kids don't know how to handle it. And then, so I looked at all of that stuff. But like I said, the big thing is I believe Freeman's prepared, and he has been prepared for this. We just have to keep the players that are here that Mickens has had, the ability to get here. And I think we're going to be fine. We just got to go and play. And I don't think CJ is going to leave after next year. You can have all the talent in the world, but you still have to prove yourself. He still has to mature as a quarterback. And I think the more time he spends, the better it's going to be. It's like the kicker from Mississippi. They said, man, you can go pro. Look at the leg you got. And he says, you kidding me? I'm having more fun in college. I don't want to go to the pros now because he knows, right? I mean, that's the way you got to look at it. And I think his family's smart enough to know that. The more you see, the better you're going to be prepared, right? The better you're going to be prepared for things. But, I mean, it's just sit and wait and see who he's going to get. And just looking forward to that blue gold game. I got to see if I can get a few guys out here, Notre Dame fans, to go. I thought maybe Allegiant Airlines in Niagara Falls, Buffalo would fly there because they have an Allegiant in Notre Dame, but they don't. They focus more on Florida and like South Carolina, the warmer climates, So it's a 10-hour drive for me. But I haven't been there since 1996. So on campus. So
you're gonna have to get a new map. There's a lot's changed, man. A lot's changed.
Well, they still haven't. I got to share this with you, and you'll laugh so hard. So we're on our way back. I got my 17-year-old son, David, my youngest one with me, the one I trust the most. I let him drive through Chicago in the car at rush hour in the morning coming back, right? People, why'd you do that? I said, because I trust David. He's got the windows all down. He's listening to a Christian group called the Newsboys. I mean, it's blaring, right? Well, anyways, we come through, and then all of a sudden he's driving, and we're driving in Indiana, and and as we're driving along, he goes, he rattles me. I'm in the side seat. I'm in the passenger seat. I'm sleeping. He shakes me. He goes, Dad, what's going on here? Well, all these motorcycle guys were going down in the culvert and coming out of the culvert. And I'm looking because when we went out there, it was Sturgis in North Dakota, right? Yeah. Oh, wow. Trying to find a hotel room then, that's worse than a Notre Dame game, I think. But anyways, they're going down in the culvert.
Lively group. Lively group you'd be staying amongst.
So they're going down in the culvert. There's like 15 or 20 of them. They're going down in the culvert and coming out. And I go, what the heck is this? Well, out in Indiana, you have them big watering things. They have the arms that swing to water the crops and everything.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it got stuck, and it's shooting about a 2-inch stream onto Interstate 90. And I said to David, David, slow down.
Oh, that's good.
He goes, why? And I go, we're going to get a free car wash.
That's good.
Oh, my gosh, I couldn't believe it. And then when we started getting back into the, like Eastern Ohio, all of a sudden he wakes me up again and I go, what's going on, David? And he goes, Dad, look, there's a hill. It's not flat anymore. We're getting closer to home.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Todd, anything else? I want to get Catfish on and get out of here.
Yeah, I wanted to leave you on an up note there. Some lappers with the skydiving and stuff and everything.
Yeah, I'll post a
day.
picture. I'll post 2 pictures. One of me skydiving, and then I'll do something else when I had my long curly hair because no one believes it. It's gonna. People are gonna be scared.
I had a mullet. I had a mullet in the 90s. It was all curly in the back and wavy in the front.
I like that, man. You look like an old school like hockey guy with that mullet. I like that. I like that a lot.
That was wild.
I like it. All right, Todd. Have a good day, buddy. Thanks for waiting.
Have a blessed day, Johnny.
Oh, yeah. We'll see you, man. The Silver Fox. We're ending it with the Catfish. Dave 556. I believe you're usually logged on to listen. So I think you're still doing that. If I'm wrong, let me know. Otherwise, Catfish will be it. What's up, brother?
What's going on, Johnny? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just trying to like find our grounding here on where we're at on all these different issues. What do you've been watching and listening? What's on your mind?
Yeah. Well, a couple things. A couple of the guys I agree with. A couple of them I don't. I don't agree with this 2-year window.
Oh, I just hit the wrong button. My bad. What's up?
Hey, you're good. You're good. I don't agree with this 2-year window thing with the coach. They got to look, let me start with this because I got all this stuff I sat here and listened to. All right. So the Mickens thing, I honestly was furious when he didn't get an interview last year. But this is the thing. From whatever is being reported and wherever we hear, Freeman's really close to Mickens and the family. And maybe he knew Mike wanted to have aspirations to do something different. So I'm gonna believe, and maybe he didn't want to give him a interview just for face value. He respected him more than that. So I'm gonna believe that he knew a little bit where Mike's head was. Mike, he knows him. He's close to him. So I'm gonna. But I was upset because I think that he would have been a better choice at D coordinator. But maybe Mike wants bigger aspirations than that. Maybe it's Notre Dame's head football coach. Who knows? He's close to him, so he's the only one that will know, that truly inner workings. But I will say, I don't think Ash was a home run, and everybody wants to defend whatever, this, that, and the other. He kind of righted the ship a little bit last year. Mickens, him putting Hobbs at cornerback, that did kill us. But that might not have been his call because you hear there's a little bit inner fighting one game or something like that last year. Maybe that was what that was all about. All I'm going to say is he needs to hit a home run when it comes to whoever he picks. They can't just be sitting in the driver's seat. This is a Lambo, a Maserati. They need to get somebody that can go ahead and continue to work. It might not be as a high tier level as Mickens, but if it's right here, I'm good with it. You know what I mean? They have to be a competent enough coach because that's the strength of our team. It can't just be the defensive backfield is what makes everything else tick on our defense. And you saw last year when Hobbs struggled, that defense looked trash. I mean, they were getting run through. And so they have to have a guy that can keep that together, whether it's O'Leary, whether it's a Lake, whether it's, the Oklahoma guy, whatever the case may be. That has to be a home run hit. That can't just be a guy. It has to be. And I think Mickens –
they should be in the market for the very best in the business because of the track
absolutely
record. It is not a rebuild project where you're inheriting garbage and it's going to take 3 years to get it respectable. You should be able to get the very, very best and want to be with top talent. And I also agree. There's no way Freeman was like blindsided by this. So no. I think he probably already has an idea of what he wanted to do already.
Absolutely. And, the thing about it is that he probably has a short list. And just like Mickens, for him not to give that a guy that was with him and as close to him as he was an interview, that's a tell to me because that's either because he knew something or, he had bigger. There was something along those lines. Now, whether or not I would want him as the coordinator is one thing. The only other thing I'll say about this is that when he gets that guy in there, if he can, this year is vital. That team, you can take somebody who's a good coach that wants to put their system in, it needs to be a system that works for the team he has. And the recruiting is going to stay. And this is the other thing. I want to piggyback on Todd that just said that the problem with the transfers. Just put a 2-year contract in, a rule. Like, if you want to go ahead and transfer, that's great. Take the money. That's awesome. If you don't want to be on that team, sit out for a year. I don't care what you do. Go get a job. You're making the money. If you take the money, it's a 2-year contract. Bam. That's it. It's a 2-year window. So you could go to Notre Dame for a year and transfer your sophomore year where you have to be there 2 years, or you go to the NFL. But you can't just transfer every year and then get past this. If they just make a 2-year rule, it's done and over with. It's a mute subject. It doesn't matter if the coach changed. It doesn't matter. You have a 2-year signed contract. That's it. And you could get as much or as little money in that period of time, and that's mute. The conference thing, and this really bothers me. This whole entire bull, and I'm going to say bull crap. I'm going to try to make it nice so they don't take it off the air. It's bull crap. This conference argument is trash. Trash. The reason why is because it don't matter. And this one guy in the chat was saying something about Ohio State's schedule. Come on, man. They got to play one non-conference game against Texas at Texas, and that's a hard schedule. They didn't even play all the good teams in the Big Ten this year. None of them do. That's a fact. None of the Big Ten teams play all the good teams. And there's only about 4 good teams in the Big Ten. Everybody else is garbage. Garbage. Ask Rutgers, who lost $517 million since they joined that trash-ass conference. Trash. Okay? So I'm just going to say they have some really good programs in that conference, and they're letting these other teams piggyback off the good teams. There's only about 5 teams that could even possibly win a national title. And the rest of them teams are garbage. Garbage. Just like the SEC. They have a lot of good teams. But you can't tell me Texas losing $23 million last year as a sports program isn't an eye-opener. You can't tell me $517 million Rutgers lost in the life of since they've been in the Big Ten isn't an eye-opener. There's no reason for Notre Dame to join a conference for any reason whatsoever. And the reason why they want us to join is because they need our money. They do not like that we don't have to be tied to these other programs dragging us down. And so they're making the schedule thing, which makes no sense because, like I wrote down, some people are like 11-1. If you go 9-3, you don't deserve to be in a playoff in any format. You don't. You lose 3 games, it don't matter what kind of schedule you got. You don't deserve to be in it. If you go 10-2, look what Notre Dame did last year. They lost 2 games by 4 points. You know what? If they win 11-1, they're in. The bottom line is that I'm not willing to go ahead and take away, as a university, the tradition we have that we built our program on and go into one of these conferences that you have the majority of the conferences struggling to make money, to maneuver within the playoffs. You can go to 12. You could go to 16, 24 teams. It don't really matter. Only about 6 teams have a legit chance every year to win a national title. And it don't matter what their schedule is. Because you know what? Ohio State couldn't make their schedule last year. You know why it was trash? Because exactly what I just said. The majority of that conference is garbage. And that's why their schedule was trash last year. It had nothing to do with them or anything else. It just shook out. Their conference was trash. And the bottom line is that they had 3 good teams and 4 good teams in that conference last year. And they didn't play each other. So the bottom line is that, you know, Notre Dame could go ahead and have the schedule made out 8 years in advance, and they could have a really good schedule, a really bad schedule, or an indifferent schedule. It don't matter. You go 11-1, 12-0, you're in. And you know what? It can't be a paper 12-0. Don't give me that. It's got to be a legit 12-0. I don't want to make the playoffs if we don't have a chance to win it. I don't. It don't make it. Put us in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. That's why I was upset about the Pop-Tarts Bowl, because we didn't deserve. We had a legit chance this year. Put us in there when we had Brian Kelly's team. I'll be like, Pop-Tarts are my favorite treat. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want my team that has serious. I mean, it's a mute subject. All they want is our money. College football wants our money. And the format that they have is absolutely non-sustainable. It's not. It's not sustainable. These teams are going to – if Texas is losing money as a program, why would they – if they look back and said we could have stayed in the Big 12, I bet you they probably would have thought about doing that, because the bottom line is that they're losing money now as a sports program. How could Texas, as big as they are, lose money? They reported a loss last year. It's because the NIL, and it's because they're tied to the SEC, who wants all these other teams. That's what I'm just saying, man. Like, I'm tired of this argument. Win the games and you're in. Win it.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is that you're going to lose teams. You're our coaches. So, I mean,
I get it. I get it. I don't know. A part of me thinks you end up with some mega conference that's in pods geographically with your own governance. Maybe Notre Dame could thread the needle, get out of the ACC deal, schedule those teams. I think that's where this is headed.
So this is the thing. If it was so easy, like everybody wants the state, look, I want to watch this show. Disney owns ESPN. Can they give me Michael Irvin going against a boxing match or something with Kirk Herbstreit's dog? I'm tired. Like, give me some kind of, like, quit talking these mute, stupid topics, okay? Like, they want to talk about how we're non-relevant, but they talk about us nonstop. They don't even know, like, there was something that was put up by Whitlock about what Stephen A. was talking about. He was talking about some football coach that was out in the NFL. Like, he was literally on air talking about something, and the coach wasn't even on the team that he was talking about. Dude doesn't even have a stance, and all they want to do is talk about Notre Dame. And so I'm muting them. I'm muting ESPN and all these. Like, that's what we got to do. We just got to have blinders on, because the bottom line is that if we're good enough to win it, we're gonna win it, guys. We're gonna win it. And at the end of the day, all these topics, they're gonna work each other out. We got to have trust in Freeman and Notre Dame making the right decisions. That's the bottom line.
I think that's what it comes down to. And this is a high level program operating at a elite clip right now. When you look at everything in the whole organization, it's a really, really strong program. Notre Dame's going to be fine. Anything else, Catfish? I'm sorry to make you wait, buddy.
No, you're good, man. I just, I love the passion from everybody, and it's normal. This is the thing that, as Notre Dame fans, and you being, I know your passion for it, and I know my insides get turned around just like yours as far as the problems that we've had in the past since you've been a fan. I'm not only a little bit. I watched the tail end of what Holtz in that era and Parseghian, all the different stuff that we dealt with as a program, and we hear the stories of. We went in this lull that you had as a fan, and so we're always waiting for that trap door to drop. And the bottom line is like, it's a little bit different now. Not a little bit. It's way different, and the narrative has switched. And now we got to grow into this. Like, we got to hold our shoulders up high. We got to be like, look, not just like we have tradition. It's right now. It starts right now. And as fans, we need to grow into that. And we need to be a little bit more proud, not defensive, but actually just like stand up, like, yeah, whatever, talk about us. Say we're not relevant. It doesn't make any sense, because your arguments and your talking points do not match up with the facts. The facts are, you look at our recruiting, you look at what we're spending as a university, you look at how good our team performs, you look at the coaches that want to come here. You can't say we're irrelevant. It's impossible. It is. Now, everything's got to line up, and we got to do our thing. You know what I mean? But we just got to stay the course as a fan base. And start just looking at the facts of things, guys. And they line up with, we're right here. We're right in the middle of it. And it's about to bust. If you look at the way all these other dynasties started, look at Alabama and Nick Saban. Like, his first couple years just kind of climbing up. That's what Freeman's done. Just kind of climbing up, and then bam.
Yep.
Yeah, and Clemson, the same thing. You look at what Dabo did. Couple years, bam. We're about to bust through the wall, and it's going to take some hard times. But all these people, the reason they want to talk us down is because they don't have our money. If we were affiliated with the Big Ten, the SEC, the Big 12, all these guys that want to talk, if we were affiliated with all of them, they would not say we're irrelevant. The reason we're talked about like that is because they don't want to talk about the realness of the thing. They know if Notre Dame gets to where they were, it's over. They might as well just go ahead and put it up. Like everybody's gonna want to go there. It is. Like, and we're gonna get a coach. I trust Freeman to get a coach. That's my biggest thing, because I want to Mickens just like the 2 callers ago. I think Brendan said Mickens possibly replacing Freeman. I think he's a Mickens type level coach because of how he recruits, how he cares. The players love him. His track record, where he goes, like he's a winner everywhere he goes. He's a rock star. I would love to see him come back. Maybe that's what it is. So I hated to see him go, but we got to be thankful that he was here and he did the job up until he left. He wasn't on the golf cars taking phone calls like Kelly. You know what I mean? He wasn't over there sitting there playing like it's not like that. You know what I mean? And then I was sitting here thinking today, here's the other funny thing. We got Charlie Weiss Jr., who grew up on Notre Dame's campus. We got Tommy Reese, like Mike Mickens. Look at all the coordinators out there that in the future, when this job comes open, that would absolutely love to come here and coach. That was never the case back in the day. That was never the case. From Holtz on.
Yeah, that is true. It is an appealing spot now, not a place to stop on your rise up. It could be a key place. Catfish, I got to get running, buddy. Thanks for being here. Always really thoughtful stuff. Maybe we'll see you Friday, buddy. Thank you.
Absolutely. Be blessed. I love you guys. See you, Johnny.
Good one, buddy. Thanks a lot. You guys are great. Thanks a lot. Well, long show here, man. Almost 2.5 hours. We haven't done that in a while. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for the views. 566 Dave, I believe you listen. If I'm wrong, write it in the chat and I'll bring you up next time. But everybody else had a chance to be on. Got a video on Patreon coming out in about an hour, a half hour. I'll have something tomorrow going over some of the scheduling stuff. Never a dull moment in Notre Dame land, people. Thanks for being here. Stay warm.